welcome back to my channel and welcome back to an Oh Baby Thursday video. If you guys are new to my channel, then hello, my name is Melissa. I am currently 36 and a half weeks pregnant, almost 37 weeks pregnant. I am in the final countdown, you guys, the final countdown. It's almost time and holy moly, I am just going crazy. Like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? By the time this video goes up, I might have already had my baby. How insane is that, you guys? Oh my God. I know a lot of you have been following me on this journey, so you can share the excitement with me. But if you're new, I do have a whole playlist of pregnancy related videos that I will link down below for you. I post a new pregnancy video or baby related video every Thursday. Thursdays are the days that I click over to a new week. So when this video goes up, I think I will be 38 or 39 weeks. Oh my God. And more than likely I will have already had my baby. How weird is that? Anyway, in today's video, I thought I would share with you guys some of the hospital classes that I took. So I know there's a lot of new moms out there watching my channel, and there's a lot of old moms out there watching my channel, but a lot of the questions that I get from friends and just coworkers that are also new moms are, what are the hospital classes that you're taking? And I will kind of preface this by saying that every single hospital and every single OBGYN or doctor's office or birthing center is going to have different types of classes for you to pick from. So this is just what my hospital offered and what I found to be super helpful with each one. But keep in mind that yours may vary. Next time you go to the doctor, just make sure you ask them, hey, I'm really interested in taking some hospital classes or some baby classes or birthing classes or whatever they call it. And they should be able to provide you with a list. Mine is also available online, so check online through your hospital or your OBGYN. But yeah, these are just the classes that I took and then what I found helpful with each one. Ugh, I need some water before I get started. By the way, here's the bump. 36 and a half weeks is big. It's a big bump. Okay, so the first thing I did was a hospital tour, and I did this twice. I did it once with my mom and once with my husband, Matt. The only reason why we didn't all do it together is because they only let you bring one person with you each time, which is kind of weird. But like, I don't know, that's how my hospital is. So I went once with my mom and once with Matt. But I highly recommend doing a hospital tour for your hospital if you plan on giving birth in a hospital or birthing center. Get a tour ASAP. And I say that because if there's anything you don't like, you want to give yourself enough time to switch providers, to get a new hospital or to find a new hospital, and that's not always like a quick, easy thing to do. So get ahead of the game. I did my first tour at like I think I was 22 or 23 weeks along when I did the first tour with my mom. And I liked the hospital, which is really good, because if I didn't, you know, I would have to switch. But I'm glad I did it that early. And then the second time around, I did it just a few weeks ago with my husband so he could see everything as well. But mostly it's whether or not I like it. I really didn't care if he liked it. So what I liked about the hospital tour itself, so the hospital, I mean, I can go on and on about it, but it won't matter unless you actually go to that hospital. But in my hospital tour, so we all kind of met in the lobby. There was a big group of people. They took us up to the maternity ward. And the first thing they did was tell us where your guests are going to wait. So they'll show you the waiting room. They'll show you where like your group of people, your guests are going to be waiting for you. They'll also tell you things like visitor hours and whether or not, how many people you can have in the room with you. Like when you're giving birth in the labor room, the postpartum room, all that good stuff. But you can kind of see where people are going to be, which is nice if you kind of care about your guests and you want to know if they're going to be comfortable. Is there a vending machine? Is there a cafe? Things like that to kind of keep them busy and comfortable while they're waiting for you. So that was the first thing that they showed us. And then they talked a little bit about the NICU. So my hospital has a level 4 NICU, which is really good. That's the highest grade that you can have. But that's something you'll want to consider, because if you give birth early or if there's something urgent or that your baby needs, there needs to be a good NICU, which is the neonatal intensive care unit, to take care of your baby. So ask about that if they don't tell you what level it is, and kind of figure that out ahead of time, because that could kind of make or break your decision as well. So then we went up to the like kind of next level of my hospital. It's like a half level, where we had the triage rooms, the labor and delivery rooms, the surgery rooms or the C-section rooms, and then the postpartum rooms. So the first thing they told us about was the triage rooms. So triage, if you guys are unfamiliar, is kind of like labor and delivery emergency. So if you go and you're not in labor, but for another reason, typically you'll go to triage, not the ER, to check out your pregnancy. So if you go because maybe you're having spotting or weird cramps or any level of pregnancy symptoms, or you think you're going into early labor, you will be admitted to triage. But triage is also a normal part of the process, at least for my hospital, where you would first go for them to check to see like if you're actually in labor. So like if your water breaks at home, or you think your water breaks at home, you think your contractions are however many minutes apart that they're supposed to be, they'll check that to make sure before they actually admit you to the hospital. Because once you're admitted to a labor room, like you're staying there. You're there until you have the baby, pretty much. So you have the triage room, and then you have your labor and delivery room. So that's where you'll go to actually labor and have the baby, and that can take a couple of hours, a full day. It just depends on how long you're in labor. So they showed us that room, and then we went to the postpartum room. So some hospitals combine the two and you just go to one room. Most hospitals have two, so you have your labor room and then your postpartum room. That's because there's two separate nurses that take care of you. So you have your labor and delivery nurses, and then you have your postpartum nurses. So they have the two separate rooms. They didn't show us the OR or the operating room, but that's where you would go if you had a C-section or if you needed some sort of surgery for your baby, to get your baby out. I'm assuming there's only C-sections, I don't know. So some things that I recommend when you do your hospital tour is to ask them about what products they provide to the mom for postpartum recovery, and also what products they provide to baby. Also ask about things like their standard practices. So do they do skin to skin? Do they do delayed cord clamping? Stuff like this, just things that unless they tell you, you'll want to ask. Can you adjust the temperature in your room yourself? Can you dim the lights yourself? Is there a cafe for your husband? In your postpartum recovery, can you order food? Just all these things, stuff that you'll want to think about when you're actually there at the hospital. Ask while you're there. One of the most important things for me was what products they would be providing for me and the baby. So I knew what to pack in my hospital bag. So that was a question that I asked. And then for my husband, he wanted to know, like, where's the break room? Where's the cafe? What do I have to sleep on? Do I get pillows? Do I get a blanket? Stuff like that. So just comfort level things. Also, do they keep the baby in the room with you the whole time, or is there a nursery? My hospital does not have a nursery. The baby stays in the room with you round the clock. So ready or not, they're preparing you to have a baby with you. But those are the kinds of things that you want to talk about and you want to ask and you want to speculate. So yes, highly recommend a hospital tour. So the second class we took was a breastfeeding class. Actually, did we take that one? No, actually the next class we took was infant CPR and safety. Highly recommend you take it, even if you've already taken it, even if this isn't your first child. I think it's good to have the refresher either way. So basically that class, they told us all the safety things, which give or take, I think most of it's common sense, but stuff like make sure there's a lock on your chemicals, like your closet where your chemicals are stored so baby can't get in there. Don't put the crib too close to blinds where there's cords hanging. I mean, a lot of it's common sense, but I say that and maybe I'm wrong and it's not common sense. But the majority of the class was infant CPR, which was extremely helpful. So you had the little doll in front of you. They taught you how to do the palpitations or the compressions. They taught you how to do the mouth to mouth, how to properly tilt their head, what to do in those situations if they're choking. It was just very, very helpful. My husband went with me to that one. He went with me to all of them, actually. But that one is one, I think it scared him more than me because he was like, oh my God, there's so many things that could go wrong. I'm not ready. But for me, I was like, oh, this is such good stuff to know. So my hospital doesn't certify you in CPR, like you don't get the CPR certification, but they do everything that you otherwise would have to do to get the certification. So it was super duper helpful. Highly recommend taking it. You never know, hopefully your baby doesn't stop breathing, but if they do, it's good to know what to do in those situations. Then we took the breastfeeding class, which was probably the most helpful and most fascinating and most highly recommended thing I could ever tell anybody who's never had a baby before. I'm so glad my husband went with me to this one. I was a little bit on the fence because I was like, he's not the one breastfeeding, so why does he need to go? But I feel like it was so important and so cool for him to see how amazing the female body is, like how incredible we are, and just how it's giving me chills. Like and even he was like, oh my God, it is amazing the stuff that your body does and how to feed the baby. But our breastfeeding class, they talked about breastfeeding basics, how often you have to feed the baby, supply and demand, so how often you should pump. They talked about nipple confusion and when you should start putting your breast milk in a bottle to bottle feed the baby, slow flow nipples. I mean, they talked about all that stuff. They talked about the different kind of pumps that are out there and what pump they recommend, which is the Medela, by the way. And they said the Spectra is good too. I'm using the Spectra. I got the Spectra through my insurance, which is another thing. You can get your breast pump through insurance if you have insurance. So make sure you ask your doctor or midwife about that. So they talked about all of that stuff, and they showed a couple of videos, proper latching techniques. And then they talked about skin to skin as well and how important skin to skin is. I'm all for it. My husband is all for it. But basically the female body is freaking amazing. I mean, you can do skin to skin, like dad can do skin to skin, grandparents can do skin to skin, but only mom can truly detect and modify baby through skin to skin. So everybody has the ability to heat the baby up. Everyone has body heat, but mom can actually cool the baby down also. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but through skin to skin, if the baby is too hot, then we will detect that and we will cool our body to then cool the baby's body. A lot of hospitals, at least my hospital, does immediate skin to skin for an hour or two after you deliver. So they don't even weigh the baby. They just, you birth the baby or you C-section the baby and they immediately plop the baby on you. They clean the baby up while it's on your chest and they clip the cord while it's on your chest. So they say that immediate skin to skin is so super important. It helps the baby with like crying, comfort, all that, and then immediate breastfeeding is also important too. So anyways, they taught us all about that in all the class, or in that class. We also learned about how fascinating breast milk is. So breast milk is like, it's like this liquid gold. Like your body can detect through the baby's saliva what they need. So if they're developing a virus, if they're getting sick, then my body or your body as the mom will start to produce antibodies and then like give it to the baby through your breast milk. If the baby needs more protein, then your body will produce more protein and give it to the baby through breast milk. If they need more sugar, if they need more, I mean, it goes on and on and on. It is fascinating how sophisticated your breast milk is and how sophisticated the female body is. It is just incredible. It's just incredible. I can't say it enough. So I really enjoyed that class. I think my husband really enjoyed that class. It also was important for me to learn how often I have to feed the baby and what I have to do to keep my supply up and things like that. So highly recommend taking a breastfeeding class. They also talk about breastfeeding pillows and which one they recommend. So it was a good one. Okay, the last class we took is probably the most typical class that most people take, and it is I forget exactly what they called it, but I think it was like labor and delivery basics or birthing basics or something like that. So it was an all-day class. It was a Saturday class and it was like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. where we went through what to expect the entire time you're in labor, when you have your baby, and like what happens. So it was really good. It was really long. I don't think it needed to be as long as it was. We had to bring pillows because you do sit on the ground. You talk about breathing techniques. They talk about the different stages of labor, so when it starts, how long you should wait till you go to the hospital, things like that. And then they talk about like the different kind of medications you can get to help while you're giving birth or in labor. So whether it's, you know, something through your IV or pills or things like that, or an epidural or a nitrous, depending on what your hospital offers. So they talk about all that. The different kind of coping mechanisms, breathing type of things, what your husband or support partner can do to help you. Then they talk about like when it's time to push, how you push. They talked a little bit about C-sections, but we really didn't touch on that too much. You watch a lot of videos where they show you real natural live births, so you get to see all that happen, which is good. It's good to help prepare you if you if you have never had a baby before, if you don't know what to expect. But I think a lot of that you could also find on YouTube. If I'm being honest, if you really didn't want to pay for the class or go to the class, you could find a lot of that information on YouTube. You can watch a lot of videos on YouTube, but it was helpful, and I think it was nice to have my husband there as well. They also talk about postpartum recovery, breastfeeding a little bit again, hospital bag, what to pack in your hospital bag, what to expect at the hospital. It was really good. It was really informative. It really was. It was just long, and I think of all the classes, that's the one that I probably wouldn't either go to again or recommend. I mean, it was good. I do recommend it, but like, I don't think it was absolutely necessary. And that could be because my sister is a labor and delivery nurse and she's already told me a lot of this stuff. So for me, I was kind of like, I know a lot of this stuff already. But I guess if you didn't, then it would be a really good class to take. All right, guys, so those are the hospital classes that me and my husband took to kind of prep for baby and get prepared for baby. If you guys have any questions for me, leave them in the comment section down below and I can try to answer them for you. I hope that this video was helpful, and I hope that it helps you make a decision on what classes you want to take. Keep in mind, do what's right for you. Do what your doctor recommends, what your hospital recommends, what your midwife recommends, and utilize your maternal instinct, your gut instinct. Take as many classes as you want or not. You don't have to take them. They're not mandatory. But these are just the ones that I found helpful, and yeah, I hope that this helped. Oh, they also talk about preterm labor. In that birthing class, they talk to you about like how to know when you're going into labor and when, like, what full-term baby is and all that stuff. So 37 weeks is technically full-term according to my class. But anyways, okay, I'm done. I'm done rambling. I will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Mwah.